Hi everyone, it's me, your boy, Uncle Melty, the host of the Metal Meltdown. Please, hold your applause. Am I the only one who's just kind of tired of this? Am I the only one? Sometimes it feels like I'm the only one. I don't think I am. I'm probably not. But sometimes it feels that way. Like, oh, woke ruined metal! Oh, I can't listen to this because it's woke! The woke agenda! Oh, they're trying to make everyone gay and trans! Oh, they're trying to make everyone a liberal! All I want to do is listen to metal, but they keep trying to make it woke and gay and un-American! Shut up! Am I the only one who's tired of this? That felt good. I needed to get that out. Alright. Okay. We're going to talk about how metal is or isn't woke, and it really doesn't or does matter or whatever. I don't know. The title of the video and the context of the video varies depending on how soft your fucking spine is. Cheers. That was tequila, by the way. I poured a shot of tequila. Off screen. Yeah. I mean, that part makes sense. It's me, for fuck's sakes. Of course I'm drinking. Alright, so, Mr. Philip Labonte of All That Remains' fame, who I guess is now also a semi-permanent addition to the cast and crew of the Tim Pool program, got to host his own little thing on the Tim Pool program because he's such a big special boy, and because I assume Tim Pool was out of town, perhaps accepting money from the Russian government to spread Russian misinformation and propaganda. And in this little special, Philip was joined by intelligent minds such as Brian Gropner of the band The Gothsicles, and also a goth YouTuber by the name of Jake Monroe, and they talked about how woke has infected metal and goth and rock and punk music, and that MAGA needs to come to the rescue of music and the arts and entertainment at large. And that is the stupidest fucking thing I've ever fucking said on this channel. And that says a lot, because I've said a lot of stupid fucking shit. I'll be the first to admit it. I myself am not a smart fucking guy, but I would be fucking Einstein in a room with these fucking doofuses. Now, this is a nearly 2-hour episode of what has been dubbed the Culture War Podcast. I did not watch the entirety of it, and I would not expect you to either, unless you really just don't have anything to do for the next 2 hours. But I did watch a good chunk of it, a couple good segments of it, and what I heard is just so flat out objectively pathetic and wrong that it really needs to be addressed. Because, I know for a fact that this whole woke ruined metal, this whole woke ruined everything narrative, it's not going anywhere. Not anytime soon, at least. But that doesn't mean that argument, that viewpoint has some kind of merit or weight. That doesn't mean that the people who are saying these things aren't either very unserious or very uneducated, or perhaps both. And I think it's time to really start kind of calling this stuff out for what it is, and I think that this video provides us with a really good opportunity to do so. So a good chunk of the video is more or less Phil and the gang just kind of reciting your standard kind of right-wing, anti-woke kind of talking points. Metal used to be scary, the imagery used to scare away the normies, goth and rock and metal and punk were never political, and they were made political by liberals and leftists and by woke trans kids online or whatever the fuck. It's all stuff that you've already heard like a billion times already before, and as usual, there's really nothing more to it. There's no meat to the actual conversation here. It really is just these talking points. And they're not even good talking points. I'll give you an example. Around the 28 minute mark of this video, Jake Monroe talks about how goth never was political in its heyday, in its early days. It was made political by liberals and leftists who felt that being liberal or that being leftist was in and of itself goth. He also makes the vapidly stupid claim that, well, if right-wingers enjoy something, then it can't possibly be left-wing. Fun fact. It can, and right-wingers do this all the fucking time, because a lot of right-wingers just don't have media literacy. Like, if I had a nickel every time some right-winger freaked the fuck out upon realizing that a band like Rage Against the Machine or System of a Down or some other kind of hyper-political band wasn't also the most MAGA thing ever, I'd have enough money to buy the fucking Tim Pool show. And it's not just that. Right-wingers have historically misinterpreted the narratives and the concepts at the core of stories like The Matrix, The Boys, American Psycho. So much so that they end up idolizing sociopathic, psychopathic, fascist murdering freaks like Patrick Bateman and Homelander, and they seem to have taken the whole red pill concept from The Matrix and they've twisted it into this whole other fucking bullshit that we don't even have the time to get into today. And it's not just that these people don't have media literacy, it's also that they go into everything with the expectation that it is for them and only for them, with the expectation that at some point, whatever they're listening to or watching is going to validate their beliefs. And when the thing that they're enjoying doesn't do that, the humble right-winger doesn't know how to respond, doesn't know how to process or comprehend that information and deal with it in a mature and responsible manner. So instead, they lash out, and they act like they're being excluded or written out of history. They act like they're being attacked, prosecuted, mocked, ridiculed. This is a very consistent pattern here. Like, right-wingers absolutely love left-leaning content and art until they realize that it is left-leaning. So yeah, I'm sorry, Jake, but it's absolutely possible. Just because a right-winger enjoys something doesn't mean it's right-wing. And Jake's whole assessment, too, that goth was never political until liberals and leftists showed up and made it political, until they brought liberalism into goth music, is so fucking wrong, it's honestly hilarious. Goth music and the entire goth kind of subculture and scene has always had very strong ties to anti-establishment, left-leaning, socially liberal ideas and concepts. It's always been about nonconformity, individualism. It's always been about fully, truly expressing yourself. Goth music has also created a safe space, more so than any other genre of rock music, I would say, for queer people, for LGBTQ plus folks, for gay people, for trans people, for non-binary people. And I know that right-wingers love to think that they own the idea of anti-establishment and nonconformity, but that very isn't true, especially not in these times where the right is absolutely the established. Like, this is the most far right that any government has ever been in the United States. This is the most amount of power that right-wing movements and organizations have ever had over the country, over media, over everything. Like, you cannot sell me on being anti-establishment if you are yourself a piece of the establishment. And honestly, this whole thing about how it is MAGA that must come to the rescue of the arts is hilarious too. Like, having this conversation while talking about metal and goth and punk and rock music and alternative music is in and of itself very funny, because like the MAGA Christian crowd and good chunks of the MAGA base would probably hate a lot of like metal, punk, goth music because they would think that it's loud and satanic and it's brainwashing their kids. And they don't think that because it's woke. They think that because it's metal, goth, and punk music, and it's scary. It's not fucking Carrie Underwood or whatever the fuck. Like, do you think that your band's All That Remains and the Gothsicles are gonna play the fucking Turning Point USA protest halftime show? Of fucking course not, because that audience would hate that. For fuck's sakes, these people think K-pop Demon Hunters is demonic and satanic. It normalizes the supernatural. It blurs the lines between good and evil, and it makes demons look awesome and good, and it makes God look evil. It's anti-God. It's anti-Christian. It is a movie, an animated musical movie for children, might I add, but a movie nonetheless that is about literally and figuratively fighting demons. That's what it's about, dog. You're sitting me here telling me it's demonic. They're fighting demons. What are we talking about? This kind of goes back to the media literacy thing too. Like you can just put it right there in plain fucking English for all these people to see. Like, we hate demons, we're fighting demons, we are not demonic. And then some fucking white Christian MAGA mom at home is going, this is definitely demonic. And like MAGA as a movement is very anti-art. It's very anti-freedom of expression. It only really supports art and freedom of expression if it's being made by MAGA voices. This is why Trump has been defunding and threatening universities and museums and libraries and nonprofits. He slashed funds for NPR and PBS, in the process decimating them. He slashed millions of dollars in grants and funds for the National Endowment of the Arts program. He made himself the chairman of the Kennedy Center Honors, and specifically gave out Kennedy Center Honor Awards to high-profile MAGA folk. Like, neither this man nor this movement are interested in saving art, at least not any art that doesn't 110 million% align with the man or the movement. It's so pathetic and hypocritical too, because these guys will happily hyperfixate on blue-haired they-them liberals on TikTok getting mad at them, but when Nazis or bigots infiltrate the fucking scene, it's pure fucking silence. Suddenly, there's this burden put on these aforementioned blue-haired they-them liberals on TikTok who are so hypersensitive and unreasonable, according to these people, to accept and tolerate extreme ideologies. Woke is ruining metal. It's an extreme ideology, but this other extreme ideology, which is literally the most violent that politics can get, that's awesome. That's fine. We just have to deal with it. We have to accept it. You can't have it both ways, folks. You cannot sit here and try to tell me that woke is an extreme ideology. The acceptance of queer people and brown people is so extreme and it must be eradicated, while also telling me that this actually extreme ideology, I just have to accept that it's here and I just have to deal with it because music should be for everyone. Like Hayley Williams from Paramore talking about how she doesn't want transphobes at her concerts. That's too radical. But these people who actually want to kill trans people, that's fine. They deserve to be here too. You're kind of giving the whole game away with shit like that, dog. And with that in mind, honestly, at this point, if you're telling me that something is too woke, you're basically just kind of telling me that you're a fucking bigot, that you're fucking ignorant. There's a woman, there's a person of color on the screen, on the stage, and that bothers you. That really fucking bothers you. Because there's so much stuff that isn't woke at all that has been accused of woke just for having people of color and women and queer people in them. Like, remember that bullshit with like Rings of Power and the Little Mermaid remake because, oh my god, black elves, black mermaids, and people tried to like, actually this bullshit because they were like, well, my problem with it is that it isn't realistic because elves aren't black, mermaids aren't black. Counterpoint, they're fantasy creatures who live in a fantasy world and none of this is real. God fucking damn it. Or like more recently, earlier this year, like Ghost of Yotai getting in trouble, big quotation marks, because the lead character, whose name I don't immediately know, but she had the audacity to not be the most bodacious, big titty anime waifu girlfriend imaginable. And then like a dirty fucking ghoul, like fucking Asmongold, freaking out because he heard a woman speak in like the new Call of Duty game or whatever the fuck. Like, that's what it's come down to. This isn't really about politics. It's about you guys you cannot handle the fact that people don't agree with you and that there are people who don't look and sound exactly like you occupying these spaces. You cannot handle the fact that everywhere you look and go, there aren't white Christian men everywhere. And I want to be clear, I don't think that is what specifically Phil and Jake and these guys are arguing on the Tim Pool show. They've done a pretty good job at actually just kind of staying focused on the music and the subculture itself. But it is worth noting that Jake Monroe specifically has talked a lot about, certain people not belonging in certain scenes, being inauthentic. Like, he's talked about how there are no real female women metalheads because women only listen to metal because their boyfriends or husbands listen to metal. They only do it so they can get dick, which is just grossly fucking sexist. just disgusting fucking rhetoric. And he's got videos like Make Goth Great Again and Alternative is Red Pill and all this fucking bullshit. So it's like, we literally go from like, we need to get these extreme ideologies out of music to, I need my extreme ideology represented in music. And this is his whole grift, by the way. Just like multiple videos about like how goth and alt music needs to be more right-wing. We need to get rid of the left. We need to do something about the left. And that needs to be addressed too at a certain point. Like, nobody benefits more from the culture war BS than people like Jake Monroe, than the people who regularly contribute to the Tim Pool show, and just right-wing media figures in general. Like, so many of these guys have made a name for themselves just kind of complaining about, like, woke bullshit in movies and video games and TV shows and in music. This is all just so tiring, too. Like, it's exhausting that this has become so much of the conversation in pop culture and music and entertainment today, whether or not woke has ruined or infiltrated everything. And like, for the people making this content, is it not exhausting at a certain point to just live like this? I imagine it would be. Like, I can't imagine how frustrating it must be at a certain point to, like, you just gotta sit down and you're making little notes for your fucking little videos, your little rage-baity fucking grifty videos about how goth is woke, metal is woke, punk is woke, and this is why it's bad. And you can't ever just sit back and just enjoy something for what it is, you know? And that's what y'all keep preaching. Like, why can't we just enjoy things? Why can't things just be not political? Why can't you do the same? Why can't you just sit down and just listen to an album and try to enjoy it for what it is, and then that's that? And like, has it really not occurred to you that there isn't some kind of great scheme at play? Has it really not occurred to you that perhaps metal, punk, and goth have always been open to these ideas and concepts, have always kind of been like this, and you're only now noticing because there's just more of it and because people are just way more sensitive nowadays? Has that really never occurred to any of you? Not once? I don't know. It's exhausting. So yeah, in conclusion, you all look really fucking stupid. Like, oh no, there's liberals in my music. Oh no, there's brown people in my music. Oh, there's gay people in my music. Oh no. Oh, shut up. Grow the fuck up. You're an adult. Start fucking acting like it. God fucking damn. Cheers. That's delicious stuff.